The story of St. Theodosius is a powerful testament to living a life of unwavering faith, humility, and courage. He shows us what it means to not only embrace our calling but to defend it, nurture it, and live it fully in service to God and others. St. Theodosius' life also highlights the transformative power of community and the importance of surrounding ourselves with saintly figures. Though he was born into a pious family, he actively sought the wisdom and guidance of other holy individuals, such as St. Simeon Stylites and St. Longinus. These encounters were not coincidental. They were pivotal moments that shaped his journey towards sanctity. Saints often inspire and ignite the holiness in others because a life centered on God naturally attracts and influences those seeking the same path. Just as love begets love, holiness inspires holiness. This truth reminds us that the company we keep profoundly impacts our spiritual growth. Surrounding ourselves with those who are walking closely with God strengthens our resolve, deepens our faith, and helps us remain steadfast in our pursuit of the ultimate reward, eternal union with God. Together, as a community of believers, we can lift one another, encourage one another, and hold each other accountable, ensuring that no one walks the narrow path alone. St. Theodosius teaches us that with the help of saintly companions, we can strive for a life of virtue and fulfill God's plan for us. Theodosius' life in the desert is a beautiful metaphor for how we must sometimes retreat from the noise of the world to hear God clearly. Yet even in his solitude, his light could not be hidden. People were drawn to his holiness, seeking his guidance. And through his obedience, he built a monastery that became a symbol of unity and service, a community that welcomed all, regardless of background, and served the most vulnerable. His courage to stand against heresies and even defy an emperor highlights what true faith demands: the bravery to uphold truth, even at great personal cost. Theodosius reminds us that faith is not passive. It calls us to action, to defend what is right, and to serve others selflessly. His unwavering commitment to the teachings of Christ cost him his position, but it never cost him his mission. He continued to preach, care for the poor, and intercede for his community until his very last breath. What can we learn from St. Theodosius? First, that faith must be lived. It is not enough to believe. We must act. Like Theodosius, our faith should inspire us to serve, to build, and to heal. Second, that courage is integral to faith. Standing firm in the face of adversity, whether it's societal pressures, personal struggles, or spiritual challenges, is how we live out our trust in God. Finally, Theodosius shows us the importance of perseverance. His life, spanning 105 years, reminds us that faithfulness is a marathon, not a sprint. Through seasons of service, hardship, and prayer, he stayed focused on his mission, glorifying God and serving others. Today, let us ask ourselves, are we brave enough to stand firm in our beliefs, even when it costs us? Are we willing to retreat to hear God's voice, then return to the world ready to serve? Like St. Theodosius, let us embrace our calling with courage, humility, and unwavering faith. St. Theodosius, pray for us, that we may live lives of bold faith and enduring love, leaving a legacy of hope and transformation for generations to come. Now, let's take a moment to learn about the life of St. Theodosius Abbot.
What if I told you about a man who lived to be 105, a true legend? Meet St. Theodosius, the abbot who changed lives while defying an emperor. His story begins in 423 AD. Born into a pious family, Theodosius was a spiritual prodigy. By his teenage years, he was a lector, but he craved more. Inspired by the faith of Abraham, he left his home to seek a deeper connection with God. Picture this: he meets the incredible St. Simeon Stylites in Antioch. Imagine climbing a pillar for prayer and wisdom. Simeon recognized Theodosius' holiness, sensing that this young man was destined for greatness. This wasn't just a chance encounter. It was a pivotal moment in Theodosius' spiritual journey. Next stop was Jerusalem. There, he encountered the legendary St. Longinus, who was said to be nearly 500 years old. Just think about that. A man working closely with someone who had seen it all, someone who had witnessed the transformation of the early church and the trials it faced. The wisdom exchanged in those moments must have been profound, shaping Theodosius' understanding of faith and community. But Theodosius wasn't satisfied with just a church job. Dreading fame and the vanity of men, he retreated to a cave in the desert. Embracing the solitude of a hermit, he sought to deepen his relationship with God, to find clarity and purpose away from the distractions of society. Yet, Even in his seclusion, people were drawn to his light. His reputation as a holy man began to spread, and disciples began to gather around him, seeking guidance and wisdom. Theodosius built a renowned monastery at Kathismus, a true melting pot of cultures, Greeks, Armenians, Persians, all uniting in prayer and hard work. Under his stewardship, a hospital for the sick, a hospice for the aged, and even a mental institution flourished. His commitment to the welfare of others was unparalleled, reflecting Christ's love in action. Now, let's talk courage. Theodosius stood firmly against dangerous heresies like Eutychianism and monophysitism, beliefs that challenged the core of Christianity. He understood that the truth of faith must be defended, and he took that responsibility seriously. One time, Emperor Anastasius tried to buy him off with a bribe. Can you believe it? A huge stack of cash delivered to a holy man. But Theodosius was no sellout. He boldly gave the money to the poor, embodying the very teachings of Christ, and continued to preach against heresy with a fervor that inspired those around him. The emperor was furious. In 513, Anastasius stripped him of his position, thinking that would silence him, but Theodosius rose back up under Emperor Justinian. His life was a roller coaster of faith and resilience. Through it all, he never lost sight of his mission. He continued working tirelessly until his health began to wane. In his later years, he shifted into a life of prayer for his community, demonstrating the importance of intercession and spiritual support. Picture a wise elder sitting in prayer, a testament to his lifelong dedication to God and his people. And how did his life end? Peacefully at the age of 105, a life dedicated to God, filled with purpose, influence, and unwavering faith. Can you imagine living that long, with such purpose, or facing the might of an emperor just to uphold what you believe in? His story teaches us that faith combined with action can change the world. But here's a question for you. Are you brave enough to stand firm in your beliefs? If St. Theodosius could, what about you? Share your thoughts below. What does your faith inspire you to do? Get ready to inspire others with your unique story. Like Theodosius, we should also aspire towards sainthood and the will of God. Your actions today can echo through history, just as Theodosius have. The world is waiting for your story, your faith, your courage. So what will you do? How will you make your mark? Will you stand for what you believe in, even when faced with adversity? Let the legacy of St. Theodosius remind you that every act of kindness, every stand for truth, no matter how small, contributes to a greater narrative of faith and resilience. Embrace your calling and let it lead you to places of impact and transformation. St. Theodosius, pray for us.